I'm Harrison Graham. Let's get into a Bears-Chiefs preseason preview as Chicago visits Kansas City to play at Arrowhead Stadium on Friday night, as Caleb Williams and the starters will take on Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs starters should be fun as both teams will play their ones. All right, that is where I'll start here. Can Caleb cook versus ones? Because against the Bills, mostly twos. I think a couple starters were out there. He cooked. 6 of 10, 107 yards and a touchdown. We've already outlined the incompletions multiple times. He basically was 6 for 7, or 7 for 8, because Rome dropped the ball. He had to dirt a couple passes. There was really one quote-unquote miss out of all 10 of his throws. So pretty damn good day at the office in his 2 drives against Buffalo. But this is a different test. It'll be against starters. It'll be on the road in a louder environment. Even if it's not a true regular season primetime environment, it's still Arrowhead Stadium. Like, it's going to be fairly loud. So a good opportunity to kind of, work through the operation in a different, less comfortable environment for Caleb Williams, for Ben Johnson, for the whole operation. So I just think from that standpoint, it's smart that they play. Kind of what I said last week. The results are the results. Like, unless he goes out there and throws 4 picks, I'm not gonna panic if it's not as crisp as it was the time before. But it sure would be nice if he played 2-3 drives and they scored again. I'd be down for that. So excited to see how he looks against a starting caliber defense, and a defense that's been one of the best in the league over the last several years. We will be live for this game, a live Bears versus Chiefs watch party this Friday night, 5:45 Central Time, kickoff at 7. We'll have our pregame extravaganza at 5:45, get you ready for the game, live play-by-play action during the game, and then we'll do our post-game content as well. So be sure to lock us in as we got you guys covered here on Chicago Bears Now. Okay, how long do the starters play? Last week the offensive starters played 14 snaps. The defense only played 3. They got a 3 and out, and they called it. So I would imagine at least the defense is going to play more than they did. Maybe the offense plays a similar amount of snaps. Pat, the designer, had a tweet based on what Andrew Billings said, because Billings was asked how long the Bears are going to play starters. Now, Billings is kind of with the twos now, so he's not a true starter, so take this with a grain of salt. But he said that they're going to play until the starters get tired. So Pat, the designer, kind of speculated. He said, don't know how many snaps that is, but I would assume it's more than 2 drives. And, these coaches typically put it into a snap count range. 15 to 20 snaps each side of the ball. That could be anywhere from 2 drives to 4, depending on, are there a couple of 3 and outs on each side in there? That could be anywhere from, close to a quarter to a quarter and a half. I could see that being the case. And Andy Reid sometimes will play his starters for multiple drives. So, you played 2 drives offensively last week. I'd like to do at least 2 again, if not 3 or 4. And then defensively, I think you got to play at least 2. You only played 3 snaps last week, and I'd like to do at least 2, if not 3 or 4 as well. So we'll see how it goes. Sounds like it could be a little bit more than a week ago, which is exciting to say the least. How long should the starters play on Friday night? You guys make the call for us on that one. I say in that 15 to 20 snap range. You can base your answer on snaps, drives, until they score, whatever. Let me know. I'm curious what Bears fans are looking for. Obviously, roster bubble watch. You get into this final preseason game, and, it's kind of your lasting impression for guys fighting for a roster spot. Some guys will be here for at least 1 more practice, maybe even 2, before the true roster cutdown day on Tuesday. They probably won't practice Saturday. They'll have a lightish practice Sunday, I would guess, maybe a full practice Monday, and then cuts are on Tuesday. So, you got a couple, final opportunities after the game. But the game might really be it for some of these guys who are going to get some extended runs. So we'll tell you about some of those players on the bubble here in just a few moments, but I got to tell you about our sponsor first. That is Prize Picks, the best daily fantasy sports app is Prize Picks, and you guys can get signed up with an account today at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Preseason football is rolling along. College football is here, so don't miss any of the action on Prize Picks. It's very easy to play as you pick just more or less on stat projections for 2 to 6 player lineups. If you get your lineup right, you can win up to 2,000 times your money. Week 0 is here, so take advantage of that. And the big boys, the pros, they're going to be here pretty soon as well. We got a special deal for you. A max discount for Dak Prescott. Take more than half a passing yard. Pair that with something else. If you want to just do a 2-player lineup, you're halfway home to winning some money. Get started today. Download the PrizePicks app. Use code CLNS to get $50 in the lineups after you play for just $5. That's code CLNS to get $50 in the lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Link is in the comments and to the description of this video. Okay, the Bears roster bubble. We broke this down in detail on a video earlier on Wednesday, but by my count, there's 21 players on the roster bubble. Some of these guys could be safe, or some of these guys may have no shot, but the way I see it, it's these 21 guys. I'll just sprint through them here. Roschon Johnson, 4 receivers, probably 1 or 2 spots. Devin Duvernay, Miles Boykin, Tyler Scott, Jahdae Walker. 2 tight ends, Stephen Carlson and Joel Wilson. Some offensive linemen, Karan Amagaji, Luke Newman, Doug Kramer, Jordan McFadden, and Bill Murray. Some edge rushers, Dominique Robinson, Tano Passanio, and Daniel Hardy. Chris Williams, Zach Pickens, and Jonathan Ford at defensive tackle. And then at corner, Nick McLeod, Trey Flowers, Zay Frazier, who's been around recently but hasn't practiced. Not sure what they're going to do with him if he's been dealing with a personal issue. I think Nick McLeod's in a good spot. Trey Flowers could be on that bubble. We'll see if the veteran can put together a final preseason game that is worthy of keeping him around. Reminder that roster cutdown day this Tuesday, August 26th at 3 o'clock Central Time. So that's when the Bears and everyone else will have to trim from 90 to 53. Okay, next, does Braxton Jones lock up the left tackle job? Split time with the ones last week in practice with Theo Benedict, but he has started both preseason games, including the game in which the ones played against the Buffalo Bills. At Wednesday's practice, he got all the reps with the ones, it sounds like, as well. Zach Pearson had this note as he thinks it's trending more and more likely to Braxton Jones being the Week 1 starter. 1 preseason game left, but I believe he's going to be that starter. He also had the note that Ozzie Trapillo continues to work at right tackle. Karan Amagaji's out of the mix. Ozzie Trapillo seems to be out of the mix. He's going to be on the team, obviously, but he's not going to be your Week 1 left tackle. But Braxton Jones probably is. I would say this, and listen, I would like them to start Theo Benedict in this game just to see how he does with the ones, but assuming Braxton starts, if he at least holds his own and is solid, I think he's at least the Week 1 starter. Now, Ben Johnson said recently that may not be a permanent situation. Could be something that's ongoing, and we have to kind of reevaluate a few weeks in, perhaps at the bye week. But I think he would have to shit the bed against the Chiefs to not start Week 1 at left tackle. It doesn't feel like he's truly won the job, but I do think he's been playing better the last few days and last week or so. I don't think the Bears have loved how this left tackle competition has played out, but that always kind of felt the case, right? If it wasn't going to be a competition where someone just took it, they were probably going to lean on the veteran in Braxton Jones, and that appears to be what is happening here. We'll see if he can officially secure it. I think a strong performance on Friday, and he will. Will Braxton Jones win the left tackle job? I say probably yes. Type Y for yes, type in for no. We'll see what he does on Friday night. All right, lastly, and I think this is kind of an under-talked about, I don't want to say development, but just storyline, is who handles the return duties? Because I think if all things are equal and Devin Duvernay makes the 53-man roster, I think he's the guy, probably as your punt returner and potentially as your kick returner as well. I know Kyle Monangai in the opener got the first crack at kick return. Tyler Scott got the first crack last week, and he almost went full Velus Jones, so I don't know if he's viable. I don't even know if Tyler Scott's making the team. But if Duvernay makes the team, it feels like it's his job, but he got banged up recently. What if he doesn't make the team, or what if he's not ready for Week 1? Well, we saw Olamide Zaccheaus catch a fair catch in last week's game. Luther Burden was out there for a fair catch. Kyle Monangai at kick return's been in the mix. I don't think he'd be a punt return option. Josh Blackwell's done the job before as well. We've seen Maurice Alexander back there, but I don't think he's truly a threat to make the roster. So we'll have to see. I mean, I think if Duvernay is on the team, he's likely the guy. But if not, is it Luther Burden? I mean, I'd like to see Burden get an opportunity, at least at kick return. So we'll see what happens there. But you'd like to have someone, be the reliable returner and give you some juice on special teams. So that's what I'm looking for. We'll see if someone can pop in this final preseason game. So there you have it, some storylines to watch in this preseason finale as Caleb and the starters will play against Mahomes and the Chiefs starters. Should be a lot of fun. We, of course, will have it all covered here on Chicago Bears Now. So be sure to subscribe and join us. If you see this thumbnail, you'll know you're in the right place. Subscribe, turn on notifications. That way you know exactly when we go live, which will be at 5:45 Central Time. And, of course, share the link below with a friend. It's youtube.com/BearsNow. Should be a good time. And then the next time we do one of these, it'll be the real deal. So see you guys on Friday night. Bear down.